Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to MTG Arena. Today is Friday, December 20th. Lots of things happening and I'm certainly falling behind on a lot of them. Let's see, do I want to play like a red or blue or green? I guess let's get rid of blue or green. So now we have white and blue, so there's just like no overlap at all on any of that. Yeah, just a ton of stuff happening right now as far as Epic Store is having daily game giveaways, and I've missed some of that. The Steam Store sale has happened, and we'll cover some of that and look at some of that. But I don't think I'm going to particularly make an extra video to do that kind of promotion. If anything, in a year retrospective, making what is effectively an e-begging shopping video didn't seem like it has done too much for the effort. At this point, it's just we're on to the acceptance phase of being demonetized as a small YouTube content creator, and at least I am, and I'm just ready to hang up my hat on that and just say, look, if sometimes on rare, extremely rare situations, maybe once or twice a year, somebody will gift me a game on Steam, but in reality, it's certainly not paying any kind of bills or anything like this. We have this historic artisan, which would be skins, 2,500 gold for skins. Which I'm not in really the mood to do this, and it feels like this particularly would be skins for old cards, because that's what historic is, right? So wouldn't this come around again at some point? Where that doesn't really feel like that's a one-time offer, where 10,000 gold for this does feel like it's more of a one-time offer, and honestly, being guaranteed the gift of one commander probably does have more value, unless I already have Rise the Redeemer, which maybe I already do. That would be a good thing to check. And then the only other ranked draft that's being highlighted is the War of the Spark ranked draft, which I imagine we still have Throne of Eldraine here. It's just being overpowered. They're still pushing to power up the collection, which I guess at this point that would be the decision. Do I want to spend $10 more on this game? And I probably need to do that pretty quickly. And then here you have a year in review emails, which you could sign up for, which honestly wouldn't be too bad of an idea. But of course that just seems to have already been set up in my case, or at least partially set up in my case anyway, so no big issue there. Let's see, what else? We're at rank 97 mastery, which means probably odds are good that we'll get up to rank 100 by the end of today. It'd be nice if we got up to 103 or higher. I have 3 packs here I can't open. I have not been playing Magic in at least yesterday, and probably not much the day before. I've been programming my project of making a conference room door sign, electric sign. Have made some decent progress on it. There's a lot of typecasting problems that I keep running into as far as using all of the settings in one giant JSON array in an Arduino, which is not a system I have used before. It might, with some evolution of how JSON handles situations, and how the library for Arduino handles the JSONs in particular. It might prove to be very useful instead of having to declare a bunch of variables that are effectively not connected to any of the other variables. You instead have one giant, what seems like an array of varying types. But then at the current moment it does also require jumping around in circles and converting any numbers back into numbers, and I'm not sure that I'm 100% actually getting the numbers that I should be getting. That seems to be part of the problem, is that converting the result seems to be getting random numbers instead of the right numbers. I've got it rudimentarily drawing an image now of the battery, and I've just drawn that as a giant 2D array. Just going to hard code it into the program. With at the moment I'm thinking just skipping the effort of even trying to have the images change. Being an e-paper screen, people trying to program or change what is effectively a black and white screen and change those icons, it's not really worth the effort. So I think I'm just gonna hard code all the icons. I'm leaning towards making a second version with a much larger screen. The equipment behind the screen would potentially stay the same, unless the new screen just cannot be drawn onto because of the massive amount of RAM it might require. So yeah, I'm thinking a bigger screen might be appreciated by a lot of people, since the screen is really tiny, effectively smaller than what a flat square light switch would be. If you see the more modern flat square light switches, it's smaller than that by about a centimeter all around. Getting a power plug at the right angle through that is going to be difficult, to say the least. Also, so that increases the potential price to have to find a power plug that works well with that. This guy now has flying. Who gave this guy flying? Right, well, this I guess. Just attack with that and see if anybody wants to defend. I'll just keep buffing up this guy. So yeah, but from what I've seen, to get a bigger screen, there's an e-paper screen is effectively tripling the cost of the screen, which already the device, even buying in bulk, it is really not offering as good of a value as I would have liked to have seen. There's definitely something to be said about how this all these components together, even trying to price it down very cheaply, is not really making a lot of profit while still being at a reasonable price. um, which inherently the closest competitor to what I'm building was already marked as too expensive, and there's really no competitive edge there. So then it becomes almost an economics argument. Can you make a product that really doesn't compete in any way to another product and still gain enough market share to make a benefit, and you'll just always be behind the curve. Oh man, no. Oh man, I almost lost there. This guy has menace, so I can save myself one turn, and that's it. So if I cannot get the vindictive vampire on the field, then I've lost. This would be 6 and it would kill me. So here's what we've got to do. Bring back this. And do I have enough to cast this? No. So here's what we gotta do. We gotta attack with everything that would gain us any health. And hope that we could play this and continue. And playing this, I don't think would reset the fact that we've already played a land by any means. Doesn't matter which one. See, yeah, it didn't reset that. So we've lost. Yeah, the sad fact before I stop talking about my conference room badge door display really is, it's probably going to be a story of hope, of desire to actually have some passive income and make something, invent something successful, which is always kind of what you would want to do if you're more of a maker, technological person. But then the actual practicalities of, oh no, I would really have to buy 1,000 units to get things in real bulk. I'd have to seek out some Chinese person that's almost certainly going to rip me off in one way or another to rebuild the entire unit way cheaper and just get the price down. Like, you can't even really market yourself on the buy American. You could say that it is assembled in America, but all the parts, all the electronics are clearly just coming off of a boat from China, or at least somewhere in Asia. So yeah, it's kind of tough to compete, particularly in inventing anything. And if you're trying to invent something that's not using electronics or technology, good luck on that. Let's see. So the winter sale, which is probably the biggest deal, gives you coins for doing certain things, and you get, if you have like 5,000 coins, you get like $5 off. Is pretty much as I can have figured out so far. You can vote for the Steam Awards, so we can do that right now. So Game of the Year. Let's just start here. Let's just scroll down. Game of the Year. Your options are Sekiro, Resident Evil 2, Star Wars: The Fallen Ones, Destiny, or Devil May Cry 5. I don't believe my nomination made it. Of course, none of my nominations would have made it because I've nominated a bunch of weird things, and clearly this is all just going to be a popularity contest. So my pick amongst the popularity contest is I can't really just be a Japanophile and say Devil May Cry 5, and I can't be a Star Wars fan and say Fallen Order. Definitely not Destiny, and again, it would be really more of a Japanophile vote to go with Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. Resident Evil 2, also a Japanese game, but certainly that is not anywhere unrealistic, in my opinion, to vote for. And as soon as I voted for Resident Evil 2, I got a award in like towards a badge or something. VR Game of the Year, which probably Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted deserves it if Beat Saber wasn't on there, whereas Blade and Sorcery, Gorn, and Borderlands 2 VR, not really even heard of them. So you kind of have to go with Beat Saber. You know it's going to win, but you don't get anything for voting who you think is going to win, actually. Next, you have the Labor of Love. The options are Warframe, Tom Clancy, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, GTA, and Dota. I really don't think any of these really deserve a Labor of Love. This is a terrible selection for what there was. Like, if anything, I would say the one that people put the most effort into is Dota 2, so there we go, Dota 2. Like, terrible options there. I would not want to give any of those a Labor of Love, because I really don't feel like there was a lot of love put into GTA 5 or any of those other games. They were all just games deciding to try to make money like any other game, so so there's kind of nothing that's like insultingly bad options. Next, you have Better with Friends, which is Risk Rank 2, Underlords, Dota, Age of Empires 2, Rings of Elysium, or DayZ. Again, pretty bad versions, pretty bad options. None of these games interest me in the slightest. So do you give it to DayZ, which sounds like one of the terrible zombie games, or do you give it to another Dota game and go Dota Underlords? Or do you give it to Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition? Sure, let's just, for historical sake, give an award to a re-release of a very old game. Then you have Most Inventive Gameplay. Baba Is You probably deserves to win that. Slay the Spire. My friend Pedro, Oxygen not included in Planet Zoo. I'll go with Baba Is You. That by far is way more innovative than any of the other games, although Slay the Spire would win if Baba Is You didn't exist. Let's see. black, and no buff. And let's see. We can attack one here. Next we have outstanding story-rich game with the options as Plague Tale, Innocence. I think I'd give it to that. Disco Elysium, Far Cry New Dawn, Gears 5, Greedfall. Far Cry New Dawn and Gears 5 not really, yeah, what was this, outstanding story-rich games, because nobody's really talking about them. Greedfall, people talked about it for a half a second and then forgot about it. I don't know if they said something in the game that insulted the SJWs or something. I think I vaguely recall something like that. Disco Elysium, again, people talked about it. Whereas Plague Tale Innocence, I think a real gamer, just an average gamer, would feel like that has the most outstanding story-rich things. Also, really don't want to give awards to AAA games that they can pay for awards and do pay for awards anyways. So yeah, it just doesn't make a lot of sense in my mind to reward that kind of reward the big game creators. That they should be always shortchanged, in my opinion. I just don't see a reason to not shortchange the big people who already have the economic advantage to promote their games. Awards should be promoting games that don't have the economic advantage. I think it does oddly make it an economic political decision to give awards, but it happens in the opposite direction too. But yeah, I think I would definitely host a indie awards game more than anything. You can also see here that they are using their AI trailer software experiment here to make videos to show off. So the next category is the best games you suck at. Mordhau, Code Vein, Hunt, Remnant, and Mortal Kombat 11. I'll give it to Code Vein. Like, again, a sort of a Japanese AAA game, but totally ignored by the Western developers, Western video game critics, and deserved more coverage than it got by far. And I don't think it's particularly even the best game ever or anything like that. I just think it was ignored because it was anime looking, and the odd will sometimes pander to anime fans, will sometimes not. Scenarios that happen amongst Western video game journalists is ridiculous. Like they seem like they will pander to anime fans when they want views, but they'll secretly hate it when it comes to end of the year reviews or actually reviewing the games. See, and next we have outstanding visual style, with the options being Gris, which is a little bit too indie, I think, to probably deserve to win it. Total War 3 Kingdoms, I don't know. This probably is way improved visually compared to previous Total War games, but I don't think it really deserves just for that. Astroneer, Katana Zero, and Subnautica Below Zero, which is kind of just a different artistic design. So you kind of have to give it to Gris because the other 4 of these games really don't have too much of an artistic design that I would highlight. And certainly they're not giving us a good presentation of these games. If I really would need to click on these and look at more of the screenshots. So yeah, you kind of have to give it to Gris, which I would argue, Gris being published by Devolver Digital, is kind of less of a indie game than you would normally think. So we voted, we got some trading cards because of that. I'll buy buy something. I don't know if I'm gonna spend like $100 or even less on the sale, and that'll give me some more trading cards to build up a profile badge. Which building a profile badge is like, you kind of want, there's kind of a initial tier that you want to get in a lot of the badges. I haven't even looked at this one, but then after that initial tier, let's see. After that initial tier, you kind of are just left to your own devices as far as do you want to spend another $100 to try to level up your badge, or another $5. Sometimes it's not always 100 to level it up one more time to maybe get more booster packs, to maybe then sell the booster packs, or turn them into gems and sell sacks of gems, which, like, unless there was a massive shift in the values of gems, it's not ever like you're gonna profit there. The only people I think that are actually profiting from trading cards and badges have to be people that are doing something illegal with it. Alright, so next I need everybody to kind of attack. So this one, and then this one, and then this one, and then this one. And then that will leave this. Probably could attack with that too, but I don't want to. So I'm hand picking here, and we'll see what happens. I need one more. Alright, so that has a 1, a 2, and a 2. So I could bring these guys back right now, or I could wait. And I think we probably would want to kind of wait. Because this gives me more options. So on the Steam, they have the Steamville Holiday Market. You get kind of chat stickers, and there were supposed to be some games in the chat that I think have failed. You get more tokens when you complete quests, and so let's view the list on quests. Visit the market, shop on Steam. So let's see. Visit Steam Labs, which join a group chat room. Make a wish, add any games to your Steam wish list, take a Steam Labs deep dive, use the chat stickers, watch the Yule log burn, and search for something new. So we just go through all of that. Tomorrow we'll have some more quests. And if you complete all the Steam holiday quests, you'll receive this. I don't know if I've already maybe missed some quests. I would hope that the answer is no. Let's see, when you click visit the market, it brings you back here. And so There's a sales coupon. 5,000 tokens get you $5 off. Meanwhile, the other things you can buy are just stickers. Some of these stickers have only like 30 uses and are used in chat, and didn't disappear after a certain point. There's a profile you could buy. These chat room effects, like 30 uses to use in chat room for 1,000 gold, and then there's some backgrounds and some emoticons. Like none of this stuff you'd really buy except for the $5 off. And then level badges up to 15, so you want to get up to 15 on the badge, which may or may not actually require you to do as much as it would seem it does. You probably don't have to actually spend much, if any, money to get level up the badge. Let's see. You're on 250 profile XP for each level, and you level up, I guess, with 1,000 tokens only. There seems to not be a way to level it up that. So then if I go into my inventory, let's see, what have we got in our inventory? We've got these trading cards, which probably go to a badge, which is different than the other one. So if we go to view badge progress, yeah, it is a Steam Rewards badge. So there is a Steam Rewards badge that maybe you can only level up 3 times, maybe 5. I forget what even the maximum level up for badges are. That is unconnected to the Christmas ball, Christmas ornament badge. As for more interesting things, games that are actually on sale, they're going to kind of on a daily basis just highlight games, but you can definitely see on their front page here, there really isn't a lot of difference here. Every day they, I think, are going to want you to go through your discovery queue, which, yeah, we can say no to that. We can say no to that. We can say Risk Rain is still thinking about it. Where Raft is still in early access. I think it's probably already on my follow list, or I took it off the follow list for some reason. I could see myself taking it off the follow list just because it's not really relevant. Let's see, no to that. Transport fee. Put that on the follow list. Next. Actually, here's Resident Evil 3. We can go ahead and put that on the wish list, and that'll also allow me to accomplish something else. Beat Saber should be on the follow list. Seems like I very possibly have curated my follow list down to the point. And then here we have Elder Scrolls Online. Elsewhere. Skip that. Mordhau, I'm not really interested in. Then here we have Baldur Sky, which is a JRPG game that I think came out just today, so I was gonna cover this one anyways. It was $44.98, Japanese full audio visual novel. Clearly well, actually it's an RPG, it's not a visual novel, so clearly I'm gonna put that on the follow list. And so you did one queue, and that unlocks one more trading card, so every day I'll have to do like 3 discovery queues. That seems pretty common. some of the things like joining a chat are not things I'd really want to do, but I can certainly do that pretty quickly. You are seeing here some games that are definitely being highlighted to you, specifically to me, based on what I've purchased before, not instead of, but just promotion games in general. Well, it's kind of way down here at the popular new releases that they're just highlighting games that they would normally highlight. And then at this point we're kind of not even getting much highlighting at all. We're below the fold, as it were. Alright, this. And this. I'm just waiting until I get one more land, and that's it. There's an argument that could be made here that there's very little animation showing up, and no minigame and no real programming showing up this time for this sale. It probably is because people are working on Half-Life Alyx, which I think anybody would agree is what we'd much prefer them to do, is to actually work on their next big thing instead of working on these little sales that it's nice that they're a little cutesy and different. Will we see the Steamyville or the Steamville holiday market in 2020? Probably not. Like, if I was just a guess, I would suspect that this is a one and done thing. And this just kind of just goes in circles, so there's a lot of links. And I had a game, 7 Billion Humans, that I have a coupon for. So that was one that I was going to buy, and I was waiting until the sale. But it would really just be, any more than this, a matter of going, let's see, how do we even do this here? Your store, wishlist, games, wishlist, software, wishlist. No, it's like library, store, wishlist at the top. So if I go to my wishlist here, and also play the dumb game I'm playing. Yeah. I don't think I'm gonna win quite yet. Like, I need one more Vindictive Vampire, but if I could just get one more mana, that would be fine. So I could go through my ranked order. I don't think there's really much reason to. Things like Nier Automata, not on sale. A lot of these games, definitely not on sale. So then you would want to just go filter out early access, pre-release, and VR only. And then only show me things that are on sale. And then that gives you like Dragon Quest at $30, which isn't terrible for Dragon Quest. Or $11 for The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, which I hear people didn't actually watch all of the Witcher Netflix anime, not that that really matters much to video games, and so like one of the supposedly special actual reviewers just skipped and then wrote a short review giving it a 0, just really not doing their job as far as being a TV video critic. Alright. So we attack here, we attack here. And we attack here. And we attack here. And we kind of can just attack here too. And we can kind of attack here too. And we can win the game. Because even if he defends with one, I've got him down so low that I can activate Bola Citadel unless he manages to kill more than one character with no cards and one defender here. And that was like the worst one for him to defend with, because like it brings back that guy, which then is exactly what I would have needed to see. 8, 9, 10. Yeah, even if that guy was gone, I would have been fine. And this is just cruelty at that point to go any further. Because there was another 3 damage and 10. See, we have a new guy on the chat, Frank, saying, "What rank are you?" Let's see what rank I am here. Profile, gold tier 4 with 2 pips. 10 days left in the season. I was going back and forth on the gold tier 4, and having only really played this for less than 2 months now, I just don't feel like I have any more cards that could get me any higher in rank. So I'm still learning, and I'm not really playing ranked because of that. I'm just trying to get gold and 15 wins a day on some days, if not at least 10 on most days, and I don't really even accomplish all of that. So we'll put this mastery orb there. I imagine there will be a higher tier that I will eventually just cannot get any further on. And it probably would be gold rank 2 or 3. I don't even know if there's, let's see how this goes. No, I imagine at the looks of this, I could probably get up to platinum, and somewhere in about platinum 3, platinum 4. In the year that I plan to play this, before the Marvel collectible card game from Second Dinner gets released, I wouldn't be surprised if I even make it up to diamond reward. But the real players seem to be showing up at a certain point where people who have been playing Magic their entire life know what they're doing. They have more cards. They've been playing since the beta of Magic Arena. They're buying cards in the real world, which are giving them cards in the in Arena, or they're just buying a ton of cards in Arena. So yeah, I am also mostly just playing with Throne of Elysium cards at the moment. So with the next expansion, there's 50 packs I'm gonna open, and that'll get me a lot more cards too. We have a blue-white quest now we need to do, so let's switch away from my best deck. And do I want to play Lunians? Let's play Angelic Army. I don't think that's too bad. So yeah, gold tier 4 is probably where I'm gonna leave it for this month. Maybe we'll try and get to gold tier 1 next month. I really haven't been playing ranked at all after I got to gold tier. And over the course of this month, while I have gotten a decent amount of cards, it's not like I've gotten a ridiculous amount of cards, and doing a deck rebuild every month is a little bit daunting. It's asking a little too much. Back to the Steam sale. So I filtered everything by my ranked order. The next thing you'd want to do is sort by discount or price. Discount means you're looking for a deal, where here this Game Perception at $1.99, 90% off, is probably the right price for a game that is one of 2 or 3 you're blinded and have to use echolocation to see things. The Apogee throwback pack of old Apogee games for 99 cents makes sense. Closure, again, it's hard to justify 99 cents, but then you have to be careful for a game like A New Beginning. Final Cut is a continuation of a point-click adventure, maybe trilogy, so it's really $3. Postal 2 at 99 cents. I'm not sure I really need to play Postal ever. It does have a small bit of historic relevancy, but that's debatable how much relevancy that has. Slender the Arrival, again, maybe relevant a decade ago, maybe not so relevant now. I'm just going to try and point out some of these games. 90% off often gets a game below $2. It used to get games consistently below 99 cents or $1 and would often be an indicator of a 69-cent game even. But the price does seem like it has gone up, not down. Let's see. Let's see. The State of Decay Year of Survival Edition for $2.99, 90% off, might be something worth mentioning. It is also worth mentioning that I'm asking people to support my channel as a small YouTube content creator by friending me on Steam. The information is down below, and gifting me games during these sales. It's a way that you can get tokens in this instance, and then use those tokens to your benefit for, I guess, $5 off, theoretically, in this instance. I'm not gonna do that yet. And we could attack here. 3 or more. So we've got power up, power up. Do I want to do a power up? I guess I can. It's just, do you want to block this and kill it? Yeah, it has first strike. Darn it. The other way, people, if they want to choose, they can gift cards, and that's the only way, short of my Patreon, which nobody has ever taken me up on actually supporting me through Patreon, that I'm trying to monetize my content creation at all. And that almost certainly does tie into kind of the lack of interest in making content that I've had in the past month or so. I'm still making it, it's definitely been less and less. But I do definitely have content scheduled for at least into February, and don't see any reason why I wouldn't have something coming out consistently at least into halfway through 2020. As long as I'm live streaming Magic, at the very least I will have Magic videos that would come out on a daily basis once the Hearthstone videos stop coming out, which we're still may have like 3 months of those because I was so far ahead on them. Well, I can attack with these. which then they would just be defended. I attack with this. I attack with this, and then that dies. I attack with that, and that does nothing. Like his right move would have been to pile up all these guys and take out this guy in the first place. But he didn't do that, so now I'm more powerful than all of his guys. So yeah, scrolling here, there's they get down to 85%, and this is the big annual sale on Steam. Like if there's one sale you probably want to buy games on, the Christmas sale is happening, and they are doing this sale differently. It's not the same old as far as how long the sale goes. That they are doing a full like 14-day sale. Unfortunately, I also had to buy a new video card, so and because I bought that new video card and spent $500 on that, it's hard to justify spending a lot on I should have waited, but I didn't. Whatever. Because now he can choose whether he wants to block or not. And he can just constantly decide he is going to block on certain things. Let's see. I'm also in a weird position because while I do have about 1,000 games on my wish list, games that I would be willing to cover and do when I own, or at least own, if not cover, it's not like I'm really running short on games in any way. I would be perfectly fine if I didn't buy any new games for a year, particularly if I just kind of focused on buying the brand new AAA games that came out in 2020 and tried to cover the brand new things like that, but I don't think I'd really want to do that either. It's just kind of just chasing the dragon, as it were. Let's see. Yeah, this is all he's ever going to do, because he's just going to play the same thing that allows him to summon a 1/1 human token, which is over here. So I'm kind of stuck, but I am playing white cards, which is what I needed to do. Things like the Blaze Blue Centrifixion being 80% off might be kind of unique, or the Coma Recut being 80% off. This might be the only time, or the best time per year, to buy more of the weirder Japanese games like Yumi Nikki Dream Diary, which is the remake of Yumi Nikki, for 80% off. Is probably the best time of the year to buy that. But as each of these sales happen, and There is a problem, I would say, with in particular with the, and I have to keep just attacking or he'll make 2 human tokens and just make it worse. Like, because you have an October sale, a November sale, and then a December sale, it's 3 months of really looking at your shopping list and seeing the exact same things on your wish list discounted, or the exact same games available. And there's, for instance, the Lego games over here. Not going to be much of a difference between the $9.99 that they discounted it to in October versus November versus December, because that's pretty much where they want it to be priced at, and that's all they really have to do. Let's see. Stop that guy. Finally. And attack with that guy. And then some of these games, well, most of these games probably haven't lost any relevancy that they would have had in October. So yeah, there's kind of nothing changing here. It's really the same decisions again, with perhaps a insignificantly small number of games amongst a wish list of 1,000 games that have been priced differently. The only thing I guess I could do is I could look at price instead, is sort by price here instead of discount, and then you're kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel, but then you also get some weirdness in how things are listed, because like these first 3 games probably have a free demo version, and so they're labeled internally as free, and it's not until you get to Zombie Buster Rising, which is a game I barely had any interest in, because I don't even remember it, 49 cents, and 49 cents is pretty much the minimum you can charge, because Steam is taking 30 cents on every transaction, and then they're taking 30% on every transaction, which would be for 50 cents for ease of use there. That would be 15 cents also. Yeah, 30% of 50 cents would be 15 cents. So 15 cents on top of the 30 flat fee means 45 cents, which means when somebody's selling something for 49 cents, they're getting exactly 4 pennies. 4 pennies for the game. So they're just at the minimum trying to make a few dollars, a few cents. That's it. They just don't care. But people will do that, certainly. And it's typically not games you've ever heard of. And generically speaking, that's where you'd want to do. And you also want to be careful to not buy something that then has $100 of DLC, which this Nico Nin game probably does have some expensive DLC. And you also have to be careful when you are buying something that you're buying the version that you want, which is usually the complete version with all the DLC, or you're buying the DLC at the same time. And then after, I would look at just like the discount and the price filter. Then at that point, I usually go back to my ranked order, which the first 100 games or so on my ranked order are games that I really would like to own, and not just random unordered games. But a lot of them not particularly well discounted. Like Darksiders 3 here at $20 is still probably a little expensive. It wasn't well received when it first happened, Whereas like Half Genie Hero Ultimate Edition at $20 is probably the best you're ever going to get, so spending that money is probably fine, even though that's only a 30% discount. Same might be true for the Final Fantasy series. I don't know if I'm really going to cover any of the Final Fantasy games, and I certainly could go through all of these, but it would behoove me to just move on with the video game news and not try to make a ridiculously long shopping video in the middle of playing Magic. I will just look at all of that and decide if I'm gonna buy, how much I'm gonna buy, or if I'm gonna buy anything. I'm almost certainly gonna buy something because there's good reasons to get trading cards now and play in that ridiculous field. I've left myself open here, so he can just attack with all these guys now if he wants. And I can't really defend. Let's see. For news, we have Gamasutra here. Get a job. WildWorks is hiring an infrastructure engineer. This is in Salt Lake City, Utah. Never heard of WildWorks. I don't know if I would want to work in Salt Lake City, Utah, frankly. Just my general perception of what I would assume is a monoculture of being in the heart of Mormon country is a little too frustrating for me, I would imagine. It would be the right word. It would be not something I would want to engage in. Like, I prefer cities with a little bit more diversity than that, in just ways of thinking, types of people, different religions. It, I imagine, has a very small town feel while being a very big actual big town. Right, well, so he can just defend. I can't really do anything. I could try and... I mean, I guess I gotta try. Next. And then do this. TechCraft has an article here. Cadence of Hyrule's DLC, Octavio's Ode, is now available. So take that to heart if you liked Cadence of Hyrule. I heard it was pretty good. But there certainly is a problem if you don't have a Switch, which I don't, and well, I'd love to have one. I really would. It would just eat into any content because I couldn't put any of the content because of Nintendo's copyright claims BS that they've never really cleared up to the point where they've just said, forget it, we're gonna not copyright claim anybody who plays any of our first party games at the very least. I mean, I could understand a third party person being a pain, but when you have the Nintendo Switch, which is mostly getting sales for its first party titles, and I'm mostly interested in playing because of its first player titles. I hate when it does this. It's like, you get no reward. Well, why'd you show me that then? Like, what just happened there? Like, I really didn't go up in a reward. I just apparently leveled up something else and it didn't count. Magic Arena still got some work to do, but they do have the friends list working now, so I am accepting that information is down below in the description. Also, I'm accepting friends requests, and we'll probably only play like one friend game per stream, so whoever gets into it first. That's probably easy enough to claim, because very rarely on my Monday, Wednesday, and Friday streams does anybody even want to play me. TechRaptor has an article here. Foregone is the new Epic Games Store exclusive. So Epic Games has gotten a new exclusive game called Foregone. I haven't heard of it. It looks like it is a platforming shooter game. By no means does it look bad. It looks pretty good, actually. But I would say overall it seems like Epic's exclusivity deals are going to be fewer and far between, and they're not really going to matter anywhere as much as they used to. See, I wanted to play that so that next turn I can play this and then play that. So I'm predicting that as far as 2020 goes and the Epic Games Store exclusive, we'll see fewer and fewer people being super hyped about Fortnite, which will probably put some brakes on how much can really be spent to get more exclusives for the Epic Store, and I think we'll get fewer and fewer AAA games as exclusives. The backlash from becoming an Epic Store exclusive as a AAA game is way too high, and if you're a small indie game that becomes an exclusive, it probably is just going to hurt your sales, or maybe it doesn't matter one way or the other, because you get your money in and then nobody ever hears of your game, so it doesn't establish your company as making quality products, which then becomes a problem later on when you try to make your sequel. It really does feel like it's a paid, being an Epic exclusive feels a lot like getting a payday loan, where you're getting cash up front, but then you're paying for it out of interest later on, and losing money. Alright. Next we have a game on Steam called One-Eyed Lee and the Dinner Party, which it looks a little bit like marker drawn, but it's not drawn terribly. Looks like it's kind of a point-and-click adventure, although it's tabbed as a visual novel. So this might be a joke game, it might not, and frankly the level of animation I'm seeing would lean me towards it not being a low effort joke game. Seems like it's a full game at $4.99. It doesn't have audio, but I'll put it on the follow list. We'll see if people like it. There's a good question. Do I need to do a follow list cleanup because of the winter sale? And I would say no. Like, I think I'm perfectly fine to wait and not have to do a follow list cleanup for a while. Alright. So we know we're gonna need this, so I think we're kind of fine to do this. And just hope he doesn't have something that would buff this character up in his 2 cards face down. So yeah, we're good there. Next we have a game that came out called Tip of the Spear Task Force Elite. I did a little bit of curation on the games that I decided to open today, since it's Friday. But we are at the end of the year, so there's not a lot of games that deserve any mention. This does not look as terrible as some other games have been. Early access, discounted to $19.97. It's the English, Vietnamese, Portuguese, and Spanish. Latin America is a odd combination of languages that you don't see very often. I'm gonna put this on the follow list. It does seem like it, as a military first-person shooter, does look like it is slightly above a low-effort game, and enough to not deserve that title. Gamma Sutra has an article here. Atari details revenue split, engine partnerships ahead of the Atari VCS 2020 launch. Atari is, as a company, owned by a holding company. It's not the old Atari that existed 2 or 3 decades ago by any means. So there's really no reason to support this new Atari, and they really haven't done anything to justify. Let's see. This guy's gonna fight this guy. Is there anything I could do to stop him from destroying each other? No. That's unfortunate. So, is there anything I can do to bring him back from the... I guess I could destroy this at any point. I mean, I've got it. Let's just destroy him that way. The idea that Atari would somehow come out and be a new competitor to Microsoft and Sony PlayStation and Nintendo and every iPhone and Android developer out in the world, we have like 5 platforms excluding things like Stadia, which don't even deserve to be mentioned in the same breath at the moment. Like, there's just, I think, no real room for yet another console, or something that even slightly begins to look like a console. See, I don't know if we should do this or what, but let's do this. And see if we can get 4 hits before he can play anything on the field. Next we have a game on Steam that's a visual novel called Your Little Story Winter. It's very soft pastel animated. Now this thumbnail kind of betrays or hides what is effectively the main female character in having a boob window slash almost looks like you're wearing a bra shirt. But it's not tagged with any adult content or nudity, so who knows. It's also a little too cheap at $3.19 for a visual novel. It's English and Russian, which is suspect. I think that's probably 3 strikes are enough in that instance to say it probably isn't very long and it probably isn't very good. And so with that, I think I'll decide to not put this visual novel on the follow list, which lots of visual novels make it to the follow list. A few of them actually make it to the wish list where I'd actually want to buy them. Next we have a game that came out called Chrono Arc, which looks like it is a RPG game. It seems like it might have a deck building mechanic to it also. Interesting. It also kind of feels like it is more of a attempt to make a modern, more zoomed in visually RPG, where a lot of RPGs still look like they're from the Super NES era or the NES era. This is almost more of a dungeon crawler visual perspective. There's a lot of things going here. Early access, $16.99, English and Korean. I do find that Korean games tend to change things a little bit and shake things up. So there might be some big success there. Maybe not. That's why it has to go on the follow list, and we'll see if there's anything worth really being interested in. Next, there's a game on Steam here called Deus Ex Machina Stage 0, which looks like it's a VR escape the room horror game of sorts. It doesn't look particularly good. It looks like it's got just a bunch of random things on the walls that aren't very visually animated well. It's free, so I guess the price is right, but then it has a third-party EULA, and it says it's English full audio. Yeah, this doesn't look particularly interesting, but I guess if you had a VR headset, you might as well use it to its full advantage. See, next we have a game on Steam called Alpha Manor. It seems like we are getting more Christmas themed games, like 1 or 2 a week or every couple of days. And then the images want to load, so let's see. It's early access, $13.49, English and simplified Chinese, so it's probably a cheap Chinese game. It looks like it is kind of a strategy sim game, but then also it looks like it has some RPG elements to it. So it does kind of feel like it's just all over the board. Stardew Valley meets The Sims. It's just, yeah, it looks like it's all over the place. It's probably incredibly terribly translated and incredibly boring in actual play. So I'm not even going to bother to put that on the follow list. Next we have a game on Steam called Ozma. Let's see. It looks kind of like it's a slightly different animated Terraria clone from the looks of it. Yeah. It's early access, it's $14.99, English and Korean. Visually this just doesn't grab my attention, though. It really just looks like a Terraria clone, and I really have no desire in even playing Terraria, which I think I already own. So a clone of that becomes very hard. This next one is tagged sexual content, so let me just double check all the screenshots that we don't get anything that's not YouTube family friendly. We have Bokutin Why Became an Angel as a visual novel, tagged sexual content, from Manga Gamer and Overdrive. I think Manga Gamer does about 50-50 on quality. The animation here looks pretty good on these screenshots. And I would say this video, which I don't want to sit through in case it shows something, but does seem like it is. I'm about to lose over here on Magic. It looks nice. The animation looks nice. The stills look nice. It's $40.49 discounted 10%, and it's full Japanese and English interface. Let's see. a vocal collection. I wonder if that means it's a collection of every single line of dialogue that's been recorded in Japanese. So yeah, when they're willing to charge $40.49 for a visual novel, that's when you know that there's at least a certain level of quality or confidence at the least behind the game. So yeah, that goes on the follow list. Visual novels, in a weird way, kind of are the category of games, if I am going to cover that category at all, that would be fairly easy to cover, because it is an example where I would just buy things like Clannad that are super expensive, $60 or more, and play that one game, probably very little compared to what they expect. I probably wouldn't play it all the way through every ending or anything like that. Just play one run through it and be done. And then that would be pretty much all I would have to do to feel like I've actually covered it. So you kind of pay for not really having to cover a bunch of smaller, cheaper products. Whereas if I was just trying to cover first-person shooters or third-person shooters, and I was trying to cover a significant amount of them, that there's thousands upon thousands on the Steam store that are really cheap, but that they add up in numbers. Alright, so we're just looking for victories now, so we can get away from the Angel Army. And we can just go back to Out for Blood, which is about the best deck I have. We can play a little Lily on this little Legion, though, for fun, since we got that from Twitch. Next, there's a game on Steam here called Moves, which seems like it is a box sliding game with just some numbers on top of it to kind of complicate the way you do the box sliding. So you're just pressing left, right, up, or down, and when you come over a number like this, it probably reduces. It's one of these single screen Unity minimalistic puzzle games that I'm willing to give it a chance. It's discounted to 69 cents to start with. It has 40 achievements, so it might be an achievement game. It's English only. I'll give it a chance and think about it 50-50 there, that it's an achievement game, and typically achievement games are boring. Let's see. What do we want to do? Well, yeah, the first thing I should probably play is blue. Gamma Sutra has an article here. Google has acquired Typhoon Studios to boost its Stadia exclusive content, which that's the last thing anybody wanted to hear, is that games would become more exclusive because of Stadia. So Typhoon Studios made Journey of the Savage Planet, which is a game I vaguely recall the name of, and that's it, which in all fairness is probably exactly what my experience would be for most game names. Journey of the Savage Planet, due out next month, is still going to be a multi-platform release, but everything after that is going to be Stadia exclusive, which probably doesn't really threaten too much, because we don't even really know if that means anything, because Journey of the Savage Planet may be just a garbage game. We have no clue. Oh man, if I had returned that with that spell, I could have amassed two, but whatever. see, next we have a game on Steam here called Chained, a Victorian Nightmare, which, what is this? A VR Victorian Christmas themed like game. It does seem like it's the Christmas Carol, if it was a horror game, or at least it's selling itself as kind of a Christmas Carol horror game. Let's see. $5.99, English full audio, requires VR. I'll put it on the follow list, but I'm being rather generous. It probably isn't too much. Apparently I didn't end my turn. Let's see, next we have a game on Steam called Space Digger, which looks like it is a Asteroids clone, but in all fairness, this is like the first Asteroids clone I have seen on Steam in at least 2 years that actually looks like it is slightly improved visually and an actual attempt at making a game of any kind of interest. I still feel like Asteroids as a game is kind of bad, and it's messy and confusing, and just has too much going on the screen. And this may be a mobile game that's been ported over to Steam. But yeah, I do want to applaud it. I'm still not going to put it on the follow list. It's still not the kind of game I'd want to play. But $1.79, bunch of languages supported, and visuals that actually look interesting, with some power-ups that also look like they change how the game plays a little bit, slowing down time and making things more useful. It seems also like you're laying mines with your exhaust more than you're even shooting forward with a gun, which that slight change might also change how the game plays. And they seem to be also coming only from the right side of the screen, which is a lot more easier to figure out than them coming from the entirety of the outer side of the game, of the world. Am I ready to attack? Hexproof menace. I don't think I am, because he could defend with this and defend with this, and then he'd get rid of my mass guy. So it kind of wasn't even a 100% Asteroids clone, come to think of it, because it changed so much. Let's see. Next we have a game called Bomber Fox, which has a fox spirit being shown, and then the real game looks like a Bomberman clone of sorts, with perhaps more bombs than you normally would get. I don't get the fox element there. I think they're probably thinking of like a Firefox spirit, and they've expanded that to bombing. This feels like it's all over the place. $4.99. It feels like a Chinese game. English only, though, and 28 achievements. Its concept is unclear, and it looks like a bomber clone, so I'm going to leave it at that and just not put it on the follow list, because there's nothing particularly interesting there. Next we have a game that came out called Red Eclipse 2, which looks like it's probably a player versus player Quake clone, for lack of a better term. I guess Quake clone's the right one. Mostly positive, free to play, third party EULA, English only. It does say it has some single player, but I think the focus here is definitely multiplayer. Since I don't cover multiplayer games, it's pretty impossible to criticize them, because your mileage will drastically vary based on who you're playing with. Yeah, this looks fine. It doesn't look amazing. Doesn't look like it is doing anything that would really grab the attention of all the people who are playing the Halo Master Chief Collection right now, which is your main competitor. These guys are flying, and unless I get somebody who's get rid of these flyings, he's just gonna do 3 damage to me every turn. Let's see if we have anything we need to say here. The Steam Winter Sale 2019 and Steam Awards are live, according to TechRaptor. The mini game is you buy stuff and you get 100 tokens for every $1 spent, and you complete quests. For every 5,000 tokens, I believe, you get $5 off. So that's really the only deal of any real interest. And yeah, there's kind of nothing else. Which this is the first year in at least the last couple of years in which they have not had a mini game at all. There was not one for any of the sales. Yeah, I don't think there was a mini game in the summer sale either this year. I could be wrong about that, but yeah, it feels at the very least like in the last 6 months plus since the last summer sale. And I think in the last summer sale there was no there just was no game, no mini game made, which whatever, that's fine. Sacrifice 2 creatures. Let's see. I think I gotta put this on the field first, and then we'll do this. He killed my zombie guy. All that work. All that work. It didn't accomplish anything, did it? Gamatsu has an article here. Azure Lane Crosswave launches in February 2020 in the West, which this is, I think, the PS4 and PC Azure Lane game, which I tried to play a mobile game and got bored very fast, so it's gonna have to play a lot differently. Azure Lane Crosswave takes the spirit of the mobile game and uses the Unreal Engine to bring the characters to life in a massive 3D world so fans can see them like they've never seen. Okay, well, I'm very iffy having played the mobile game and found it to be just not as interesting. It doesn't play itself particularly, and the only games I want to play on my phone are games that play themselves, like Destiny Child does, which is practically the only game I play on my phone anymore. And Destiny Child has a habit of having something new happen every week or so, so there's always something different for a lewd adult gacha game that isn't too lewd, but is definitely not something you want to give to a 10-year-old for fear of them showing it to a teacher or a principal and you getting in trouble. Draw a card. Play this. I guess I can attack. We have to see if he's gonna choose to block, or if he's just gonna let it through. If he lets it through, then I have to decide what I'm gonna do after that point. other thing that needs to be mentioned is Gematsu has been apparently plagiarized on several stories. People copying and pasting their articles word for word, including the errors. And they finally tweeted out on it and admitted it. It seemed like the plagiarists in particular, if I can see if I can find the article here, or a pretty big site, and they're claiming that it was their ghostwriter. Let's see if there's some way I can find their Twitter, because that's where it was that they mentioned it. They didn't write a whole article on it or anything like that. Alright, let's see. And it's not like Gematsu is a small time.
This isn't your average zombie horde. Impressive, isn't it? Good help is easy to find in war.
Let's go ahead and attack with this. Yeah, that's how you do it. Soon, and then search just their tweets. Actually, didn't even see their tweets, so it might have been their head journalist that tweeted it out. Yeah, because they didn't even tweet it out on their main Twitter feed. Come to think of it, because I would have seen that. Maybe they retweeted tweets and replies. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to find this to point out who was plagiarizing them, but it seems like they pretty much were called out the people plagiarizing them, and then the plagiarists blamed somebody else. And I don't know if there's much more to say there other than plagiarism in the video game journalism world still is a thing, to say the least. Let's see. No. Yeah, lost a bunch all. Here we go. Finally found it. The apology is hollow. Osarelli is still involved with and making money off the site. To all the NG staff who got caught up in your boss mess, I apologize. If you can provide a bit of advice, you probably all flourish more without your names attached to his website. So, let's see. Niche gamer. Let's see. Here's a response. I would have rather have Niche Gamer rebuild their brand's credibility than turning into NeoGaf 3.0 and pretend they were never caught red-handed while they repeat the same nonsense. So it was Niche Gamer. I believe I was at one point following Niche Gamer, and their tweets were kind of just repetitive. Ironically, their tweets were probably repetitive and not anything unique, and that's kind of where I've boiled down into only really covering TechRaptor articles, Gamatsu articles, and Gamasutra articles, is because between those three sources, with the exception of Gamasutra always publishing their sister site GDC and their sister project, each of them tend to have very unique and not super overlapping stories, and pretty much PC Gamer, Eurogamer, things like that, and Giant Bomb I never followed on Twitter, but they don't really do much news anyways. You kind of just don't need any of that. And frankly, if you're not really interested in industry insider stuff at all, Gamasutra could probably disappear, and you could limit yourself down to TechRaptor and Gamatsu. Gamatsu will mostly get you Japanese bits of information, and TechRaptor will mostly get you Western bits of information. And then you do have TechRaptor promoting games that they really shouldn't be promoting because they're getting paid to, and TechRaptor often covering games that are so indie and small and insignificant. But that's fine by me to have somebody review a game and give it a 2 and say, oh yeah, this is a garbage game, even though it was obvious that it was going to be a garbage game and just by the screenshots. That's better than nothing. So moving on, Gamasutra has an article here. Get a job. Deep Silver Volition is hiring a principal writer for Champaign, Illinois. Again, very industry insider bit of information that you really don't need if you're not looking for a job in the video game industry. We had a game on Steam called The Good Time Guard. This looks like this is a very weird looking, like Adult Swim-esque cartoon. It's tagged with nudity. I should have looked at that first. It's free to play, single player, English full audio. I suppose it's free. Check it out if you want. Generally speaking, though, I don't see any reason why I would waste my time on it. It does look like one of those bizarre Adult Swim cartoons that is just bizarreness for bizarreness' sake. It looks like somebody did a bunch of LSD and then animated things, which back in the 70s and 80s when the animators were doing LSD, you would get a lot of those weird things, and now it seems like most people that do this are just emulating what they saw in the 70s and 80s and aren't actually doing the LSD. Either way, it was always kind of nonsense, and usually not that interesting. Like, a drug-induced hallucination then needs a lot of rewriting after that point to be turned into something interesting. Like, I'm sure plenty of songs were written in the 70s and 80s based on doing drugs, but then they spent the next few weeks usually rewriting the songs and making sense of it. You don't want something that is that just raw and insane. Yeah, what's on Steam is also a very good source for what comes out on Steam, which is technically news. So I would call that my fourth and probably most important news source, because it is a 100% unbiased, this is just a Twitter bot that shows you what came out on Steam, and then I personally look at every game that comes out on Steam, like this game Sugar Mill, and then add my opinion and bias to it and editorialize it. and criticize it from that point. But I know unless the bot is broken, I am getting every game that comes out that it catches. Some games seem to get overlooked, but they seem to be very random. So like this game, Sugar Mill, looks like it is a sugar plantation simulation game, probably an asset flip game. It's mixed reviewed. It's $10.49 discounted. It's English only. How many achievements does it have? 43, probably an achievement game. Doesn't sound like a interesting game in the first place because it's just doing a job, and any job game, a game that emulates doing a job, is not likely to be particularly interesting. Alright. Let's see. This. Black. And then this. And then this. And then no attacks. Next we have a game on Steam called The Pyramid Prison, which looks like it's a first-person puzzle game, a la something like Myst, although it seems to be a little bit more mechanical and technological. Okay, this looks like it's a puzzle adventure game. I'll put it on the follow list. It's rated positively already. They want $2.09 discounted, so they're not even asking a lot there. There's a bunch of language supports. There's 20 achievements, which doesn't seem like too many. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is a kind of short, and it may just be an asset flip puzzle game, but with like 20 puzzles in it. 20 puzzles for $2 isn't terrible though. Alright, so we gotta block this, and then we've got to block this. Or does this one have flying? Block this and block this, or block that. Alright, so now it's down to, can we get this to work? One with one is probably fine to do that. Then you play one and you get one health back. You play that, and then you play that, and you play that, and then you play that. Can't play anymore, so then we put this on the field, and we've won. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 3 damage would be 7, 14, 21. 21 damage before I do 10 damage. $21 damage while also resetting my health. We are just on the cusp. Let's see. We would need 975 experience, and you get like 25 experience for every victory, it seems. So probably not getting that done today, very possibly getting it done over the weekend. Next we have a game on Steam called Titans of Space Plus, which looks like it is a VR game where you're playing some kind of space strategy game. doesn't look very well animated, nor does it really make a lot of sense. Seems like you're in some kind of vehicle, almost like a roller coaster experience. And yeah, that's really what it feels like. It feels like it's an on rails roller coaster type experience, slow roller coaster type experience. $9.99, full English audio, and then a bunch of other language supporting. Looks like it's trying to be something educational, but honestly it just looks boring to me. And I'm gonna leave it at that. Well, let's play. Let's see, Gamatsu has an article here. PM Studios to publish 2D story-driven action game Evolutionist for all major platforms in 2020. This is a weird-looking game, certainly. A guy shooting a guy through the head. That might be too violent for YouTube. Looks like it's a visual novel, if I was to guess, but it's not being really tagged as that. So let's see what this trailer shows. Yeah, it seems like it's a fighting game from the looks of it. It looks very animated, which makes me think that it's probably something closer to like a QuickTime game, or a visual novel, and then those are just a bunch of cutscenes, more cutscenes than you would really expect. Expect from a product like that. Should I attack here? Might as well. Next we have another game that's probably a little too violent. Veggie Killer Remastered, which is almost certainly just an asset flip game, trying to look unique. Vegetables running around and you're shooting them. I don't think anybody in their right mind should have such a hate of vegetables that they would want to play a remastered version of a game shooting vegetables. This is $4.49, English only, and 57 achievements, making me think it's an achievement game. Honestly, something like this would be a funny skin in a really good first-person shooter mode. So if you told me that the Halo Remastered collection has a vegetable mode where you put in a code and everybody's a vegetable, I'd be like, alright, that's kind of funny. Or if you told me this was Plants vs. Zombies, and because it was Plants vs. Zombies, then there would be a logical reason for you to be fighting vegetables, then that would kind of make sense. And that probably is what Veggie Killer really is trying to do, is it's trying to get that plant, get some name confusion going between itself and Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 1 and 2, which I don't think are actually on Steam, because I think they're on like the Uplay store or some other exclusive publisher store. And both of the Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare games eventually, if not at launch, devolved into having a huge amount of microtransactions and really just trying to scam kids out of money. And I don't think that that there's much of a difference here in that game. Gamatsu has an article here. The Panty Party game, which you play as girls' underwear of different kinds, shooting each other, has a online and local communication support update trailer, which is kind of interesting just for the Switch in general, because it means they've had to integrate some online communication and way of talking to people, because there is no real chat support with the Switch. So yeah, there's a new trailer here if you're interested. I think I kind of am, so I'm gonna take a look at it. I need one more land, and if I could get the spinning wheel, I could bring this on the field and then bring back this guy. So here's what the game kind of looks like. You play as different flying panties fighting each other. And it really is just a silly, weird Japanese game that's probably selling itself on sex more than it really is. It's in the same vein as the pigeon dating simulator game. But yeah, there's nothing there that seems like they... Like, I didn't see anything in the trailer that really explains it. It explains how the communication will really work, whether it's going to be an audio thing or whether it's going to be a selection of pre-written phrases or just a text thing. Remember, the Switch originally, Nintendo was going to say that they were going to release a mobile phone app that people would chat through that, either text-wise or through audio. I don't think visual was ever even suggested, and as far as I know, that app has never shown up. Nowhere close. I think we're getting to a point of ridiculousness too in the length of this episode, so we need to break it up after this game. I've still got a decent amount of news to talk about, and I could use taking a break also. So yeah, let's break it up after this. Meanwhile, we have a game on Steam called Rebound Ball, which is just bouncing. It's an Arkanoid clone, for lack of a better term. It has the annoying neon look that I never really appreciate, and it's really too small and to an odd angle. Arkanoid makes a lot more sense from a top-down perspective than it does this. Although, in all fairness, Arkanoid does also have some problems, generally speaking, with... here, I've won this. With the paddle moving too fast or not moving fast enough. Arkanoid, I believe, was a spinner in the arcade, and spinning a large dial to control things works a lot better than using a controller does. Yeah, I see nothing interesting as far as Rebound Ball. It's 79 cents discounted. It's English and Russian. It's probably a low effort Russian game. Yep, and that leaves me with a decent amount of stuff to still cover in the next recording. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.